Hmm? Wait, holy crap, it's October. That means I can get eggnog. You gonna pay for that?
Artistunknown, doing those game reviews, so you don't have to.
It's Halloween, so that means we gotta review a scary game. And since the remaster of BioShock just came out as of the time of writing this, I think it's fitting to review the original. Wait, how long does it take to beat BioShock? 16 hours, eh? How long do I have to finish this review? How much space is left on my hard drive? Yeah, no. So yeah, let's look at Luigi's Mansion. The game starts and Luigi is walking through the woods. He's following a map to a mansion he's apparently won in a contest. He looks at the map and finds he's right in front of his supposed new home. To his dismay though, it's a little intimidating. Luigi slowly makes his way up to the mansion and peeks his head in the door. We find ourselves in the foyer and it's darker than my sense of humor. Armed with nothing but a flashlight, we're now free to explore the mansion. There's a spiky-looking glowing door in front of us, so obviously that's not where we're supposed to go. Only other place is up the stairs, so up we go. At the top of the stairs, we immediately see a big door. There's another door off to the side, but let's just ignore that for now. This is supposedly our mansion, so we can just barge into any room we want, right? Of course, so the natural thing to do is open this big door. Unfortunately though, Luigi's wearing stupid oversized gloves and has absolutely no grip. I mean, the door's locked. Creepily enough, after we attempt to rip the knob off, you can hear a ghostly chuckle. I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. Even so, the door is still locked, so screw it, let's just go back downstairs and stand for eternity or something. It's not like there's another door we're completely ignoring. We make our way back down to the ground floor, and out of nowhere, a hazy, ghostly figure shows up with a key inside it. Hot. It drops the key and flies off into the locked door. I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. And then the camera zooms in on the key, reminding us it's there, as if we couldn't already tell. Huh. You know, I think I kind of like just standing here. It's much better use of my time. Wait, wasn't I supposed to be doing something? Oh, hey, a key! Okay, so obviously the key is for that big door up there, so let's get back up them stairs. You know, I've always used the left set of stairs, and I've completely neglected the right set. Let's be adventurous for once and go up them for the first time. I'm so excited, guys. This is completely unexplored territory for me. Well, that wasn't exciting at all. So Luigi approaches the door, puts the key in the lock, very hesitantly opens it, and slowly creeps his way into the room. I don't understand what he's so afraid of, though. There's clearly nothing out of the ordinary here. Just a bunch of dust. Huh. Luigi falls over in fear and is about to be eaten by this ghost when the Ghostbusters show up. This old guy. He tries his best to suck in the ghost, but he gets dragged all over the place and the ghost effing punches him. He may be defeated, but he's still got his spirit. He explains he's been catching ghosts for a while, and Luigi is just dumbfounded. This is Professor Egad. He explains that this mansion is overrun with ghosts, and then asks Luigi why he's here. There's no time for explanations though, because some more ghosts show up and now it's time to GTFO. After that totally near-death experience, we find ourselves in Egad's lab. Luigi explains that he won a contest he didn't even enter, or rather, Egad translated what Luigi apparently said, because as we all know, this is a Nintendo game, and the protagonist is silent, aside from being able to scream his brother's name. Egad explains he's lived here for most of his life, and this mansion appeared out of nowhere a few days prior, so clearly something is up. As it turns out, apparently Mario also previously went into the mansion, but Egad wasn't able to stop him, so he's now dead. Probably not really. Egad then trains us in the art of ghost hunting so we can have some sort of chance of saving Mario. Wait a minute, a game starring Luigi where you have to save Mario? Wow, what an original concept that's never been done before. Oh, right. Well, this game is good at least. Egad introduces us to the Poltergust 3000, fittingly, a vacuum cleaner, that can suck up all kinds of things. I feel like that's implying something. We also have the Game Boy Horror, a communication device that also has a bunch of other functions, but we'll talk more about that later. We hold the R button to suck and the C stick to change our direction. There's one other function, but that won't come into play until later. And now it's time to train. Ghosts like the dark, so Egad turns off the lights and releases the ghost upon us. And then we die. Nah, just kidding, we caught every ghost. Which is funny, because normally I don't do this well. Also, you have to stun the ghost with your flashlight before they can be sucked up. That's kind of important, I guess. The training sequence is interesting. It gets progressively more difficult to catch every ghost, but Egad tells you some strategies in between each wave. In the end, he releases an insane amount of ghosts that you probably shouldn't catch all at once, but you know me, I can handle a lot. Now that we've deepened all of our orifices, we're ready for the mansion. But first, let's check out Egad's art gallery. He's quite proud of it, so it must be good. Well, this sucks. The only thing in this gallery is a couple of statues and a bunch of blank canvases. If we talk to Egad, he explains that he once had a bunch of ghost paintings, but it's now empty. Oh, you don't say. He says we can also look around with Game Boy Horror by pressing X and check objects with the A button. He advises not doing it on the angel statues, though. Oh my god. So yeah, as you can see, Luigi has an interesting way of interacting with objects. Sure, sometimes he'll bang on them with his fist, but most of the time he just humps everything. I guess it gets the job done, though. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume that chest was already open, he didn't just shove his dick in the keyhole. If you scan Egad with the Game Boy Horror, Luigi will actually talk, albeit in parentheses. It's pretty funny. So there's really no point in sticking around the gallery, cause there's nothing to do here. Talking to Egad again will prompt some options, half of them giving more information on things, one to go back to the lab, and one to stop talking and keep browsing this empty gallery. Because we would so want to do that! Now that we're done appreciating fine art, it's time to get on with the game. Being back in the lab, we now have the option to go to the mansion, or the gallery, or the training room. We don't need to train though, because again, I caught all the ghosts. I just gotta rub that in, cause it means I'm better than you. We exit the lab and Egad waves at us as we approach the mansion once again, this time armed with a household cleaning product that can also clean up ghosts. Or something. Oh hey look, Toad. Yeah, it turns out there are toads in the mansion, cause they came to find Mario. They're absolutely useless though, other than functioning as save points, which we really don't need, especially later in the game. But I guess it's better to be safe than sorry. Anyways, now that we're equipped, we're free to explore the mansion and get rid of all the ghosts inside, as they're a bunch of jerks. We'll take care of that by stealing all their cash though. And now we go into the room we met Egad in and get our first real taste of combat. After cleaning out all the cash first, we get rid of all the lights in the room and then some paintings start talking to us. That's not weird or anything. And then some ghosts show up. And it's not too big of a deal because they only come out in small numbers. Come on, bring it on you pussies! That's it? Ah, whatever. The encounters do get more difficult from this point, though. Sometimes. It's always fun, though, because the way you actually suck up the ghost is so involving, having to move the control stick along with the C-stick for the most efficient sucking. There's also multiple types of ghosts, all with different forms of attack. Some punch, some strangle, some eat $100 bananas, and some even have elemental qualities, but we'll get to that later. The fights get especially interesting when there's multiple ghosts of different types all coming at you at once. There's even some special ghosts that only show up in certain spots, and you've only got one chance to catch them, because when you do, they drop a bunch of cash. Those being the blue ghost and the golden mouse, which actually only spawns randomly or by scanning a block of cheese with the Game Boy Horror. The most important ghosts, though, and the ones that we're all here for, are the portrait ghosts, aka the ones that escaped from Egad's lab. Gallery. You know they're important because Egad stops us from going further. You know they're important because Egad stops us from going further before telling us. He also tells us how to fight them. It takes more than just shining a light and sucking them off up. The portrait ghosts all have some kind of trigger that reveals their heart, and this can usually be found out, or at least implied, by scanning their heart. And then it's time to suck him up. The first portrait ghost is Neville, a daddy boy that just wants to have a nice relaxing read by the fire. Why don't we make him more cozy by making the fire bigger? Oh no, that's too big! Oh, he seems to like it. Well, might as well suck his cock while we're at it. Oh no, I wanted to suck him off, not up! Oh well, it's our job anyways. Maybe I'll get to suck his cock next time. Speaking of sucking cock, during every fight with a portrait ghost, aside from bosses, they'll occasionally drop pearls, all of varying sizes. And of course we suck them up. Yep, we clean up all those white blobs. Okay, I'll stop now. After defeating Neville, a chest spawns, and in that chest is a key to another room, and in that room is another portrait ghost, and that ghost is his wife, Lydia, who's just minding her own business doing her hair. Pretty dark in here though, so let's help her out by letting some light in. Oh wait, it's nighttime. Oh no, now the wind's messing up her hair! And now she's mad. There goes my chance with a MILF. Ghost. Whatever, in the vacuum you go. Lydia's slightly more difficult than Neville, but she still isn't too bad. After defeating her, we get another chest, and in that chest is another key. A key to another room. But this time we know something interesting is going to happen because of the cutscene. And oh boy, there's a baby crying. Probably because we just killed their parents. I guess I'm daddy now. So now we go check on our new son and... oh no, we're too late! They're already dead! Wait, they're always a ghost. Ah, well, let's try to play with him anyways. Gotta wake him up first. Wake up, kid! Wake the f*** up! Oh good, he wants to play. Catch! Oh man, that's not what I wanted. I can't do anything right. Now I have to pay because his baby's madder than both his parents combined. And now we get our first boss fight. And it's intimidating, but it's actually really easy. Chauncey, which is the baby's name, will launch rocking horses at you, but the gaps between them are so big you don't have to do anything. He'll then throw his balls at you. And you'll have to find the real one to launch back at him, and then you can suck him up. After hitting him a few times, he moves into his final phase, in which he starts throwing a tantrum and tries to smash you. I'm gonna be put on a list if I keep this up. Anyways, this is the most annoying part of the fight, but it's not too bad. In fact, it's still pretty easy. After that, we drain his health to 0 and finally suck him up, sending us back to his room, spawning a chest that gives us a pink key. A pinky. After that, EGAD calls us and tells us we gotta come back to the lab because the Poltergust 3000 can only handle so much, and it gets immediately filled after sucking up a boss ghost. So now we have to deposit them into the ghost portrificationizer, which, get this, turns the ghosts into portraits. Whoa! So we deposit our load and get to see the process in all of its explicit detail. And now the ghosts are back where they belong. How dare they want freedom! And now we completed Area 1, and we get to see our stats. I did amazingly, of course, because I'm amazing. But actually, if you look at the painting frames, I didn't do too well in the fights. At least on Lydia and Chauncey, because they have silver frames. Neville's frame is gold though, so I did good on him at least. Yeah, I did good on the first ghost. I'm so amazing. But yeah, there's 3 tiers of frame colors, gold being the best, silver being the second best, and bronze being the worst. And they're all determined by your performance during the fight, aka how good you are at sucking. Sucking in the good way. After that, it's on to Area 2, which means we can finally go through the spiky door on the first floor of the foyer that's been taunting us this whole time. At this point, the mansion has opened up to us a lot more, though there's still some locked doors hanging around that will gradually be unlocked as we progress. Obviously. Area 2 is basically an extension of Area 1, though more open. We continue exploring rooms and catching all the ghosts in them and clearing out all the cash and dust. One of these rooms is not like the others though. It's hiding a dark secret, and of course we have to be an idiot and accidentally uncover that secret. After clearing all the ghosts out of the seemingly innocuous storage room, you'll notice there's a mirror, and it shows there's a button on the opposite wall labeled Do Not Push. Upon pushing it, the wall starts moving and reveals some kind of a door and a poster. Sucking up the poster reveals another button, and we're already in too deep, so obviously we gotta push it. We push it in. Oh no, Luigi, what did you do? Well, maybe this is a good thing. After releasing the booze from hiding, they spread throughout the mansion, and now it's off to the lab again. Back to the lab again. EGAD explains everything to us like we're a baby, and then he installs a boo radar in the Game Boy Horror. So now we can catch all the dastardly boos. And that means a lot of backtracking. There's a boo in almost every room, even the ones we previously cleared all the ghosts out of. So it's back to Area 1. Catching boos is interesting, and at times frustrating. You know there's a boo in the room when the boo turns yellow and flashes. It'll turn red when you're close, and it'll start going crazy when you're right on top of it. And then you smack, hump, or suck on the object the boo is hiding and to reveal it, and then it's just a matter of sucking them up. You don't even have to stun them first. You just suck and drain their health, like a vampire or something. The most annoying thing about catching boos, though, is they can freely move between rooms, so if you're not fast enough at catching them, they'll escape from the room and you'll have to chase them down. This isn't too bad for the most part, but some boos are in really bad spots to where if they escape, you're not going to be able to get them for a long time because they'll go into a room that you won't be able to access until the next area. And sometimes they'll be so annoying to catch that they'll go out of one room, into a hallway, into another room, back into the hallway, into another room, then into another room, and then they'll go into a room you can't access yet. This sucks! Hey, that was a pun. Speaking of puns, all the boos have pun names, just to make you hate them more. On the bright side, catching a boo prompts a save, so Toad is now officially useless. Doesn't catch these things so often, there's no need to ever talk to Toad again. Mostly. There's 50 boos in total, so this is gonna take a while. But that's not the main focus, so we can take care of that as we go. Back to the main plot. We actually do have to catch a few boos before progressing though, 5 in fact. Once we catch 5 boos, EGAD will say we should take a break in the washroom, which we can now access, and in it we'll find a useless Toad. It was actually almost useful because he had something important to give us, but he dropped it in the toilet. Good job, Toad, you useless fungus. Anyways, we lift the toilet lid with our dick and a key comes popping out. Of the toilet, not our dick. Anyways, that key gives us access to an ornate room that looks like it belongs to a fortune teller, and it does. And that fortune teller is a portrait ghost, but unlike the others, she's helpful. This is Madame Clairvoyant. She'll tell us the future, but that's not what we really want. What we want is answers. Where's Mario, you whore? Oh, we have to bring her someone's dropped items before she'll tell us anything. Whose dropped items could we possibly bring her? Ah, well, I'm sure this isn't too important right now anyways. Let's go into the next room. Oh, okay. This room is interesting because the ghosts are invisible, but we can see them in the mirror. There's another room like this later, but instead of a mirror, there's a projection screen, and we see the ghost shadows on the screen because of the light being projected on it. Yeah, apparently ghosts have shadows. Anyways, this room is important because it gives us the fire element medal, which allows us to shoot fire out of the Poltergust 3000. This is one of 3 elemental medals, the others being water and ice. We load up on the element by sucking up elemental ghosts that come out of the element, like these little cuties that come out of the fire. We then shoot the fire by holding L. When you think about it though, the ghosts are the real ones holding L, because we're winning. Shut up! Anyways, now that we have fire, we can light the candles and open the door. And now we can light the candles in the fortune teller room and get a key. Oh man. And now we can get on with the rest of Area 2. The key we got is to the butler's room, and the butler has been creeping in the halls all day, so we just gotta light his candle, and then he runs off like a little baby. And then we suck him up and steal all his cash. And then we do that with the other ghosts, and each fight is different and unique, being based around something about the ghost personalities, like the fight with Melody, who plays music, and we get her attention by playing classic Mario music on the instruments. She then plays a song from a classic Mario game and asks us which one it's from, and if we get it wrong, then she'll go easier on us in the fight. And her fight is interesting because she flings sheet music at us and stuff. It's really cool. Oh yeah, after fighting the butler, whose name is Shivers, we go back to the laundry room and find something really important. Mario's hat. Which doesn't actually make sense because later on when we, spoilers, see Mario trapped in a painting, he has his hat, so how did he drop his hat? Huh, game? 0 out of 10, no logic! Anyways, we should take Mario's hat to Madame Clairvoyant, but I'll just take her all the dropped items at once, because it saves time or something. So, something that's interesting, and that I only realized in retrospect, is that some of the portrait ghosts are optional. Yeah, you don't actually have to catch all of them to progress. That's lame though, and it's easy enough to catch all of them. Plus, if you don't catch all the ghosts, how are you supposed to get all the money? Anyways, we take care of the rest of the portrait ghosts in Area 2, get the water element medal, get some more cash, and then finally we come to the boss, Bogmire, who seems like the most out-of-place ghost, because unlike the other portrait ghosts, who are all humanoid, Bogmire is kinda just a blob, and it's really interesting. The fight itself isn't all that interesting though. It expands on a concept from the first boss fight, in that there are multiple Bogmires, but only one is the real one, and also we gotta suck something up to shoot at them. And it would be easy to tell which one is the real one because they all look the same, but the real Bogmire isn't with all of them, at least not at first. He takes a while to spawn, and you don't know where he's gonna pop up, so you'll walk around sucking up one of the fake outs and try to look for Bogmire, but by the time you find him, he's already despawned, or the fake you sucked up will just shoot off. When you do manage to get to Bogmire in time though, he's not too hard to deal with. You just shoot the fake at him and then suck him up. The game does help a little in more quickly finding Bogmire. Whenever he and the fake spawn, lightning strikes, but the real Bogmire is the only one with a shadow. The only problem is the shadow only lasts for a very short time, and the camera is zoomed in on Luigi most of the time, so he could very easily be just off screen and you would never know it. Anyways, after beating Bogmire, it's once again time for us to go back to the lab and drop our load. And now the ghost gallery is looking pretty good, but we're not done yet. It's on to Area 3. Area 3 is where the game really starts opening up. We've basically got the whole mansion to explore at this point, and we're constantly going back and forth between the different floors and areas. First things first, we go through this sealed off door and we're now outside. Whoa! It's kinda pretty out here, in a creepy way. There's also an outhouse out here, or is it a tool shed? Well, only way to find out is open it up. Oh wait, where are my manners? If it's an outhouse, I should probably knock first, just in case anyone's inside. Ow, what the f***, Toad? Well, according to Toad, something terrible is in the well, so obviously that means we need to see it. It can't be that bad, right? Oh. Anyways, that's not important. What is important, though, is that if we talk to Toad after, he stops crying and tells us that some of Mario's possessions were dropped in the mansion. Huh. I wonder if that's what we have to take to Madame Clairvoyant? More importantly, though, Toad's tears are just frozen in time. How? Also, I just noticed this while recording more footage, but you can totally hear Mario screaming for help. That's so cool. Anyways, we once again catch more ghosts, get more cash, find another elemental medal, find more dropped items, and catch more booze. One important thing of note, in the room where we get the ice element medal, we're introduced to a new mechanic. On the floor and ceiling are some kind of disc with arrows on it. When stepped on, they'll flip us onto the opposite surface, onto the ceiling if we're on the floor, and onto the floor if we're on the ceiling. This comes up a few times in the game, and it's always interesting, though sometimes it can be a little annoying when you didn't mean to walk onto them. Area 3 probably has the most variety of portrait ghosts. There's a bodybuilder, an old lady, a pool player, twins, a sexy lady that turns out to be an even sexier lady. They're not the most unique ghosts, but they do seem to be the most varied group. What's also interesting about them is that the old lady is the grandma of the twins, and the twins are also the other children of Neville and Lydia, which means we have to kill them too because we killed the rest of their family. Can't leave any witnesses, you know? In order to do that though, first we gotta have the key to their room, and it's been hidden away somewhere in the mansion, and that somewhere turns out to be their grandma's room. Figures.
You fat.
So we suck up Granny, get the key, and fight the twins, and it's almost like a mini boss fight. It's a bit more intimidating than the other portrait ghosts at least, and it's also interesting because before we fight them, we play hide and seek, and you can totally cheat by sucking on the boxes they're hiding in. And then they get mad because they're sore losers and we have to fight them, and during the fight, one of them rides in a car while the other flies in a plane dropping bombs on us. It's pretty cool. The other important thing in Area 3 is the observatory. We enter and the door is immediately sealed, and then a bunch of shy guys and other ghosts show up. After we suck them up, the lights come on and the doors are unsealed. We then go into the next room and find a telescope. We look through and then see the moon, and then the room just transforms and now we're in space. I think there might have been some LSD in that telescope or something. And now we're shooting crap at the moon, and now it's blown up. Fantastic. Luigi, I swear, if you do one more awful thing, whatever. All that matters now is we got Mario's star, and supposedly the last dropped item of Mario's, but I forgot to get Mario's shoe and gloves, so whoops. After finding all of them, though, it's time to approach Madame Clairvoyant and see Mario's fate, even though we already know it. So she tells us everything we already know, and then she's ready to go back in her painting because she's no longer useful. So now we get to suck her up, which means it's time for us to finally get laid. Come on, why are you putting up a fight? Aw, did you know that makes me horny? You were always my favorite ghost. And with that, our only useful ally is gone, but not forgotten. And now it's time for us to move on. Luigi's still got some sexual frustration to work out though, so give him some time. Okay, now we can move on. After dealing with Madame Clairvoyant, we head up the stairs to the 3rd floor, which we'll be seeing more of later. For now though, we just go out into the balcony and find a big surprise waiting for us. The Boudar is going absolutely crazy, and it turns out there's a circle of boos waiting for us. They start to talk and then turn around and scare the crap out of Luigi. We're then teleported and find they've all combined into a big boo and the 3rd boss fight begins. It's pretty simple, we just gotta lead Colossus over to the Alicorn statues and then he'll pop and break into all the boos that make him up. We then gotta freeze the boos and suck them up, causing Colossus to get smaller and smaller, and thus harder and harder to actually get him to pop. And the boos are fast, so they're kinda hard to catch, especially when there's only 1 or 2 left. It's an interesting fight, but it can get a little annoying at times. After that, it's once again back to the lab and blah blah unneeded joke, and now we're on to the 4th and final area. We immediately go back up to the 3rd floor into the balcony to open that spiky door. What? Well, great, the power's out. And that means ghosts are out, even in all the rooms we already cleared up to this point, because there's no lights on. Ah well, can't deal with that right now. We gotta go through this door and... hang on. A phone ringing? Oh, the power's out? How? Ah, whatever. We get a call from Toad, and for once he's useful again, because he tells us there's a breaker in the basement. We then also get a call from Egad, and he tells us there's a ghost that we can probably only catch while the power's out, because he only hides in the darkest of places, but he could be anywhere in the mansion. Apparently he does like mirrors though, so that limits down the possibilities a bit. Area 3 is the longest area, and has the most exploring, because we're looking for Uncle Grimly, the portrait ghost that likes darkness and mirrors. Sounds emo. Because of this wild goose chase though, it means we gotta check every room, except not really. We do have to travel between the attic and the basement though, and that can get kind of annoying when there's tons of ghosts constantly jumping out at you. If we're quick though, the power isn't off for too long, letting us get on with our quest. Anyways, everyone's favorite uncle is hiding in the wardrobe room because I guess the mirror in there gets his card. There's not really anything special you have to do to catch him, you just scan his heart and he says no one's gonna find him, but then I guess he realized we found him, and then he gives in and takes it like a man. And then we turn the power on. Also, Egad makes it seem like you can miss out on getting Grimly, but the door to the room with the breaker is locked, and we don't get the key until after Grimly is caught. I can't believe Egad would lie to us. Anyways, after we turn the power on, it's time to go back to the attic and explore the 3rd floor. Not all of it, just most of it, for now anyways. Portrait ghosts up here are really interesting, definitely the most unique bunch. After beating the Clockwork Soldiers and chasing boos around to no avail, we take a lift and actually get to go up on the roof. Neat. On the roof, we find a bunch of shy guys having a party, and then we ruin it. Then we get a key to a room that I'm sure has a lot of boos hiding in it at this point. A lot of the stuff after this point is optional though, but I did it anyways. Since it's not required though, I'm not gonna talk about it, not in detail at least. One of the optional ghosts is worth talking about though. It's interesting because they're actually on the 2nd floor, which is an oddity because all the other portrait ghosts in this area are either in the attic or basement. And this one's a little girl. Her room is upside down for some reason, and she has bedwetting problems. So what do? Well, yeah, the implications here speak for themselves. What the heck, Luigi? The least you could do is not scream your brother's name afterward. Anyways, enough of that. It's time to move on to the plot, and that's waiting for us all the way in the basement. There's only 1 portrait ghost down here, 2 technically, and then a room that doesn't really serve much purpose, other than to look cool and give us a key to the room with the portrait ghost. Also, the boos down here are really annoying. And so the basement is finished, and we've caught all the regular portrait ghosts. It's time to go back up to the 3rd floor / attic and catch the final portrait ghost, who I guess is a boss? I mean, he's not technically a boss, but he gives us the same kind of key the other bosses give, and he feels like a boss, but he's not a boss, technically. And that ghost is Vincent Van Gogh. Eh? Eh? That's a good pun. You. I can relate to him because he's a starving artist. I too am an artist, and I'm also starving as I write this because I haven't eaten yet. Help. As for the actual fight, it's pretty intense. Van Gogh won't face us immediately because he's too pretentious. Instead, he sticks his creations after us, revealing that he's the one who released the ghosts in the first place, and is also the creator of all the non-portrait ghosts we've been fighting up to this point. Though they technically are portrait ghosts because there they are, coming out of portraits. Anyways, the fight starts off pretty easy because the ghosts are all bunched up, so it's easy to suck them all up at once. It starts to get harder with the third type of ghosts, at least it did for me, because I guess I wasn't fast enough, and I really paid for it, because they're a pain, constantly slamming their fists and stuff. It gets a little easier after that, though, and then harder again. And then we finally face off against Van Gogh himself. He can't believe we took out all of the ghosts, and then throws a hissy fit. And then we suck him up. Good riddance. There's only enough room for one artist here. After we catch Van Gogh, a fancy-looking key pops out of a painting with a chest on it. Then we go catch the last boo, and as a reward, we get a big old diamond. And now, here's something interesting. Because this key pops out of a painting and is not in a chest, if we leave the room without picking the key up, it'll despawn. Why would we leave the room? To catch the boo first, obviously. And then when we catch the boo, we save the game, only to realize we just screwed ourselves because the key is gone and there's nothing we can do. Congrats, you just softlocked Luigi's Mansion. This happened to me the first time I played Luigi's Mansion as a kid, and it sucked. Looking at it online, though, apparently the issue can be fixed by going out to the balcony and back into the room, or restarting the console. Huh. That would have been good to know. And now it's finally time to head down to the basement one final time and save Mario. It's time to fight King Boo. Except we don't actually fight King Boo, we fight Bowser, who Mario apparently actually killed after Super Mario 64, and King Boo revived him and is now possessing his rotting corpse. This just got really dark. Oh, who cares? The fight with Bowser takes place on the roof, of all places, or at least some extra-dimensional version of the roof. During the fight, Bowser will throw these spiky bombs at us, and then breathe fire, or try to suck us in. So obviously we gotta suck up the spiky boys and chew our load into Bowser's mouth when he's ready for the suck. And then his f***ing head comes off. And out comes some King Boo. Out comes King Boo. And then we suck him up. And then the process is repeated until Bowser's dead. Again. Whatever, we catch King Boo with a little sliver of health left, and that's that. We beat the game, once again proving that I am amazing. Cause I almost died on the final fight. Shut the f- Oh yeah, one cool thing, you can make Bowser's head go on backwards, it's pretty funny. And so we get Mario's painting and head back to EGAD's lab one last time to put the last of the ghosts in the ghost portrificationizer. Also, it turns out that the mansion wasn't actually real at all, but all the cash was. How convenient. We then get to see our final stats and see that I did amazingly because I'm amazing. Just ignore that I got no gold frames, shut up. Look at all the cash I got! And now we finally get our closure, and we put Mario's painting into the ghost portrificationizer in reverse, turning him solid. He shoots out of the machine and has a grace stuck on his head, and it's so funny that even Luigi starts laughing. And also crying. What is this liquid coming from my eyes? Is this what it's like to feel emotion? Overall, Luigi's Mansion is pretty great. There really aren't too many bad things I can say about it. Probably the worst thing is having to chase boos between multiple rooms, but that only really matters if you're trying to get 100%, and even then, it's not really too big of an issue. The game's still pretty short, clocking in at around 5 hours long, 7 if you're slow, 2 if you're super fast. It's cool, cause it's supposed to take place in one night, and you can totally beat it in a single night. Plus, all the backtracking doesn't feel like a drag because of this. The gameplay is really fun and different. Being a Luigi game, you would think it'd be a platformer, but it's not, but I don't care cause it's fun. Using both sticks to catch ghosts can be really engaging, and although it's a little hard to get right sometimes, it's still overall very enjoyable. The gameplay is so unique, in fact, that when it comes to putting a genre label to it, the only thing I can think of is adventure, and yeah, no duh, it's an adventure game. But what do you call this kind of gameplay? I can't think of a single game outside of its sequels that's even remotely similar to Luigi's Mansion. Where's all the Luigi's Mansion clones? I searched the far reaches of the internet, aka 4 pages into Google, and only found 2 people even bring up clones of Luigi's Mansion, and they're both from around the same time, and I don't think I've played either of them, so I'm not even sure if they count. I guess the market for Luigi's Mansion clones is pretty open then. That's one more video game clone I can make. The game is also very polished with a lot of extra content. There's a lot of cool hidden stuff in Luigi's Mansion that leads you to getting more cash. Like, you can water any plant in the mansion and it'll give you some kind of cash, some giving more than others. Or there's one specific plant that you actually water once per area and it'll grow bigger and bigger, eventually growing into a giant flower that sprouts a big old diamond. Or there's gems and stuff hidden in things that it doesn't look like they'd be hidden in. And there's even secret rooms that can only be accessed by scanning mouse holes or falling down from above. There's even a mode called the Hidden Mansion after you beat the game where room layouts and ghost placements are different, along with some other changes. You can also scan mirrors and you'll be teleported back to the foyer. I can't remember if this is ever explained in-game, but it's a cool extra detail. There's a lot of cool extra details in Luigi's Mansion. Like, in the menu, you can look at all the portrait ghosts you have so far and see information on them, like their ages in relation to other ghosts and what their lives were like before they died. There's also tons of cool environmental details, like being able to look out the windows on the 3rd floor, or the 4th wall actually having details despite never seeing them unless you look at them with the Game Boy Horror. The soundtrack is also great. The only problem is there's not much to it. When Brittlefloss says there's only one song, he's not kidding.
Yes, one.
There's only one song that plays throughout the entire game, and the soundtrack is still somehow an hour and 20 minutes. Well, there are other songs, 93 of them in fact, somehow. And from the looks of it, it's not just variations of the main theme. I really don't remember there being that many songs, so let's listen to the full soundtrack. Oh my god. Luigi's Mansion soundtrack is a great mix of hip-hop and funk-influenced beats, menacing synths, and absolutely f***ing unnerving classic piano pieces. The main theme really does a good job of not only capturing the feel and tone of the game, but also just the soundtrack overall. You really don't need to hear anything else because it has everything. From the grumbling violins to the driving synth melody, even Luigi's nervous hums as he travels through the mansion, it all just lays the foundation that stuff's about to get scary. And goofy. It's a really fun listen, just like the game's really fun to play. Even when you clear a room and the lights are on, the melody is so haunting that when Luigi's happily whistling it in this moment of reprieve, it still sounds kind of unnerving because you know it isn't over. Luigi doesn't though, he seems pretty content. Even Toad's theme, which is super cheery, still has an unnerving undertone. He knows things aren't alright, but he's doing his best to hang in there. Even the gallery music has an unnerving undertone, and it's super chill for the most part. The worst song on the soundtrack is definitely Controls. It's just a short percussion loop, which would be fine because you're not going to look at the controls for more than a few seconds, but it's the fact that Totaka's song plays after 5 minutes of it. I love the mystery of Totaka's song, but man, at least make searching for it fun. Personally, I would have put it after the area boss defeated music. That's one you wouldn't hear a lot of normally, and it's way more fun to listen to for an extended period. When Totaka's song does kick in though, the little switch up in the instrumental is fun, so you know what, maybe it is worth the wait. Listening to all the Chauncey related music out of context is interesting. It's all super different from anything else on the soundtrack. As soon as it played, I was immediately overwhelmed with a feeling of sadness despite it being chill. Then I saw it was the music for Chauncey's room, and then I realized the thought of a dead infant is really heavy, and the music really does its job of conveying that. So yeah, the Luigi's Mansion soundtrack is great. It's a fun 80-minute listen. It's mostly short musical stings and variations of the main theme, but there's plenty of standout tracks that don't really stand out in the game. The majority of those being the boss music, of course. And the credits music. God, the credits music. It's honestly one of the major influences for the sound I go for when making horror or Halloween sounding music. Also, the training music is an absolute banger. I always wondered why there was even an option to go back to the training room, and now I can see why. And for a game from 2001, the graphics are also still pretty nice looking, even today. The animation's fun, the mood is just right, and the dust and cloth effects are super impressive. The fights are fun, the story is fun, the soundtrack is fun, everything is fun. The game's short length might seem like a turnoff to some, but to me, it just makes it infinitely more replayable, and it definitely is. There's so much variety in such a short amount of time, I could keep playing Luigi's Mansion all day, every day, and probably never get bored of it.
Oh no, it's the ghost of my characters come to haunt me.
We're here to kill you because you killed us.
Oh god. Wait, I know how I can fix this. Success!
Wow, thanks. I know the perfect way to repay you.
Haha, no need to repay me.
Oh no, I insist.
Guys, come on, it was just a prank.
Fuck you. Holy fuck, Frogman! Oh, come on, he's just faking it. See? Huh.